Hello everyone, my name's Alicia and this is Double A Homestead. Now today we are in the garden, of course, as always. I unfortunately decided to record at the worst possible time of the day. It is very bright out, that's why I'm not in the garden and in the shade. And I woke up a little late today. I ended up getting a tetanus shot. I scratched my arm here, nothing too serious. Just a little scratch on something rusty, so I thought better get that done. I thought I was being smart because I am right-handed, that I'll get it in my left arm. Well, I sleep on my left side, so I had a rough night and it hurts, but that's okay. Now today, not too much going on. Pretty much got most of the plants in. We still do have most of the expansion to put in, but we got some corn in the expansion and loofah gourds. Got to get most of the squash in. They require a lot of spacing, so it shouldn't take too long to fill that up. Probably more so the water lines is what's going to be the main thing of finishing today. Do still have some tomatoes, the cherry tomatoes, to plant today, which I will be getting those in. So let's go ahead and get in the garden. Our beans are popping up nicely, except for this row over here. We're coming to the conclusion, because we do have a lot of beans and we didn't mark them, that these are much older beans and only a few has popped up, so we got to go through and replant those. But yeah, most of them did pretty well. And then on this side of this row for the beans, I don't know if we got any actually. Maybe I see one. So we'll do that today. We have corn over here. Most of these corns have popped. The ones that haven't, we'll probably go through and replace those. Get a close up for you guys. But yeah, we're stoked about the corn. I can't wait. I love corn. We planted the rest of, well, not the rest, we do still have some we got to put in our flower row, but on the other side of the expansion we put sunflowers here. We got the water line almost hooked up back here. One of them is, that front one is, and then we got to get the back one hooked up and get that ready to go. But as far as shade for the plants that we're putting in here, I'm not too worried about. We get full sun. There is no shade whatsoever, so I don't mind giving those plants a little bit of a break during the summertime. This is the start of our Roma tomato row. I know these first three here, that one is a plum tomato, and I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Tomatillo tomatoes, we've got those, and we tried those a few years ago, and they didn't do so well. Well, they did well. We ran into an issue with bugs. I don't know if something got like inside of it, if there's like a specific bug that gets inside of it. It was kind of weird, so we disregarded those. But we're doing them again this year. And then yeah, I mean pretty much the rest of these are aromas and paste tomatoes. We got to get the water line hooked up for these guys still. I've got to get the dirt here, that extra dirt, and get that sweeped up. Some of these I'd like to prune a little bit for the leaves, but I want them to get just a little bit bigger before I take anything off. I want those top leaves on there. You don't, when you're pruning, you don't want to prune it to the point where it's got nothing left. You want to have some leaves on there. Excuse my mess. I was doing some wood chipping here for them, but I kind of realized that we don't have the water line hooked up, so I had to stop what I was doing. We got to get that in before I can get the rest of these. And then down here, kind of the same thing we did last year, our peppers. I know we had my jalapenos and my banana peppers over here. I know that the first ones are habanadas, these two here. And then the jalapenos again, and then the sweet bananas for me. And then I know we have the mini bell mix too. And then a sweet cayenne, just the non-hot ones for me because I don't like spice. And then these buckets here, that's just extra dirt compost that we have from the garden. Actually, I think most of these are compost that we're going to be using as well. We like to save as much dirt as we can just to fill extra pots. You know, when we do things outside of the pots, we like to have that on hand because we don't really have anywhere else to take it from at this moment. Here we have our tomatoes. This whole row is determinate and indeterminate tomatoes. Now the difference between those two is with the indeterminates, they are just going to keep producing all summer long. They do not stop until frost. Indeterminates, they know exactly how many vegetables that they are going to produce. So we have mostly indeterminates in here. I know some last year videos I talked about how kind of wild they get. They really do grow crazy. It was pretty cool to watch them intertwine into this fence, and I'm looking forward to it this year. Now with the indeterminates, I do tend to prune those back just because they get so intense. But yeah, they're doing good. I notice as when I'm hardening them off, they tend to get more green, and it's cool just to watch them get greener as time goes on. We also have the water line finished here, ready for these guys to go. I didn't get everything wood chipped. I know with tomatoes I bury them a little bit deeper, so I try to refrain from wood chipping things until they're just tall enough where they're not really touching the wood chips, if that makes sense. So that's why not all of them are wood chipped. On the other side of that tomato row, we've got our hot peppers. Same thing for the other side of that row. As you can see through the fence, those are hot peppers as well. We've got just a kind of variety, purple, jalapeno, which are really cool. I'll get a close-up on that. See how purple that is? I'm curious to see if the jalapenos are going to be purple themselves. So I'm excited about that. This guy here, this one is actually starting to produce flowers. When they do that, they're behind it, it's going to produce a pepper, but with them being so small, I'm going to go through and take some of those off. I want them to focus on growth right now instead of producing vegetables. So I'm going to go ahead and go through those real quick. They're super easy. You just pretty much pull it off. There's a lot on this one. It's not going to hurt it in any way. Potato update. They're doing great. This one is a little behind. That's okay. You can see here just a little bit. I know it's kind of shaded. But these guys are doing awesome. Red Pontiac in this one, and Kennebec in this back one here. Brassicas are doing wonderful. Cauliflower, and I keep wanting to say Brussels sprouts that are in there, and it's not. It's cabbage. I don't know why I have Brussels sprouts on the brain. Now, I don't know if you can see how they are. I would pull the cover back that we have on here, but I don't want to let that cool air out and kind of give them a little bit of a shock. It is decently warm today. It's not too crazy hot, but they are a cool weather crop, so I don't want to give them that shock. Next to our brassicas, we've got our classic bells. First row here, these first couple ones are our green bells. I haven't wood chipped these. We do have the water line hooked up to these. Once they get big enough, kind of like the tomatoes, I'll go ahead and wood chip those. And following the green bells, we've got red bells next to that. More dirt I gotta clean up. And on the other side of the red bells and green bells, we have nothing. This is where our orange bells are going to be. We just haven't had a chance to do it yet. Hoping to get these in today. If not today, maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure. I know tomorrow we are celebrating our anniversary. Yes, we are celebrating 4 years married. We've been together for about 9 years, and honestly, I don't know where the time went. I guess they say time flies when you're having fun. Now, our anniversary was actually yesterday. We did take the day off. We went out to eat. We did want to go to the zoo where our first date was, but they ended up closing at 4, which we did not realize. So instead, we are going tomorrow. There is something that I did plant. It's actually lettuce, which I'm excited about. I don't know why I love to grow lettuce, but I do. I planted that a few weeks ago. I kind of forgot about it. I have ADHD, so if it's out of sight, it's out of mind type deal. But I need to get that into the garden so it can start getting more sun, because it's kind of in a shaded area. So let's go get it. Now that I have the lettuce in the garden, I have some bad news. Andrew was going through and looking at the seeds, and we noticed something I'd like to show you. Andrew was going through our arches where we have our long beans, and he noticed that some of the tops have been chewed off, which is an issue, obviously. We're hoping that we could take one of these from here and put it here. Same thing happened on the other side. And as you can see, I mean, we have a fence all the way around, an electric fence. So for something to get in would be nearly impossible. So we're starting to think that birds are getting in here and eating the tops of the leaves off. So we're trying to figure out how to stop that. If you guys have any suggestions, let us know. Our zucchini and squash are in this row here. That one just started to pop. You can't really see it too well. I'll get a little closer for you guys. Now I made the mistake of not labeling, so as of right now it's kind of a guessing game which one is which. But I gotta go through and thin these out as well. Now I know this one here, this looks like powdery mildew. It's not, it's just the way that it is in this plant. So no concerns there. Although we deal with it every year, I tend to it and take care of it. You wanna, once you spot it, you wanna take care of it as soon as possible. That way it doesn't take over your plant and end up killing it. I don't know about you guys, but I always feel bad when I'm thinning things out. I feel like a bad plant mom, but I know it has to be done so that way they're not fighting against each other. For the powdery mildew, we use a copper fungicide, but there are home remedies that you can use. I have heard of mouthwash, using baking soda with a water mixture and a little bit of dish soap with that. I have used a home remedy. It was, I believe, water and milk mixed together. I thought I would give that a shot years ago. I tried that. It didn't do anything, so we switched to the copper fungicide, and not only does it work against powdery mildew, it also helps with other diseases that you might get on your plants. But you will definitely want to do your research before you use anything, just to make sure you're comfortable with that. Andrew got me these buckets ready to go to plant our cherry tomatoes in. Now I only have 2, I need 2 more, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and get these in these 2 pots. Now the soil is pretty dry. It's been sitting here for a few days. I just haven't had a chance to get to it. Now when you're putting your plants in your garden, you want to make sure that you are watering them in, because it just helps your plants absorb the nutrients from the soil. And if they're not getting water, they tend to droop, and then they can't do what they do, which is photosynthesis, absorbing from the sun. So you want to make sure that you do that when you are planting your plants. I mean, regardless, you want to make sure that you're watering them. So we're gonna go ahead and get this in. This one that I have here, this is our spoon cherry tomato, and kind of the same concept. We're gonna bury him a little deep. We still gotta get our tomato cages as well, get those around. I am going to take these bottom leaves off. You can see those lovely trichomes. Take that label out. Give it a little squeeze there. Now there's nothing too much in here. Pretty much just compost is what we have in here. I think I'm gonna want to bury him a little deeper. All right, there we go. We got half of the cherry tomatoes in. Now, when you're planting your tomatoes, you want to make sure that no leaves are touching the bottom of your soil just to help prevent diseases. Now that we have part of the tomatoes in, we are replacing the beans that I showed you earlier. Although there's nothing wrong with older seeds, you can just see that they don't germinate as well, unfortunately. Now, I kind of made a mistake. The bag had a hole in it, so my brain thought, let's put it in a plastic bag, which is fine, but I didn't label the bag. So we believe that they are Tima beans, hopefully. If not, we'll get a surprise. But in that other first row on the right side, well, technically right side when you walk in, those are going to be Mottman's Choice. Now, you've probably never heard of those before just because that's what we get local to us at our nursery. That's what we grow, or they grow, and then that's what we grow, and that's what we really like. So we pick some of those up. Now that the beans are in, you can see Andrew was putting in that irrigation system. You could see him stomping. I promise you that he is not a bean stomper. There just happened to be a lump there, and because the beans didn't germinate, he just mushed it down with his feet. A little tip that I want to give you guys that has helped us and hopefully will help you, if not this season, next season. When you are planting your beans, water your ground first, because when you are putting a hole in your ground, it's just gonna keep filling up. When it's wet, it keeps its form, making it so much easier to put those bean seeds in the ground. All right, friends, we're probably going to call it for the day. The sun is starting to go down. We do still have quite a bit of work to do. We didn't get everything that we wanted done today. Andrew is a little under the weather. Gardening is hard work, but we enjoy it from the start till the end. That's why we do it. And we love bringing you guys along with us on this journey and sharing what we do. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for joining us yet again. And as always, take care. And until next time, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button.